Amara closed his eyes for a moment, his mind filled with confusion. He had never thought about power in this way before. Was it strength? Magic? Knowledge? What could the forest be testing him for? He thought back to everything the Baobab tree had told him. The tree had spoken of balance, of life, and of the land. The darkness, the key, the heart of the earth, they were all connected by something deeper. Then it hit him. Love, he said suddenly, his voice strong and sure. The true source of power is love. It's what keeps everything in balance. Without love, nothing in this world would have meaning. It's the bond between people, between nature and the earth itself. That's the true power. The creature's eyes flickered, and for a moment it seemed like the very forest itself paused in anticipation. Amara held his breath, unsure if his answer was correct, but the creature simply nodded. You have spoken the truth, the creature said, its voice softening. Love is the power that binds all things. It is the force that can overcome even the greatest darkness. The creature stepped back, its massive form disappearing into the shadows as if it had never been there. The forest seemed to sigh, a peaceful rustling of leaves filling the air as the tension melted away. You may pass, the creature's voice echoed one last time. Now distant and fading. The heart of the earth is yours to find. Amara and Nia stood in stone silence for a moment, absorbing the gravity of the situation. The forest had tested them, and they had passed. But there was no time to waste. They had to keep moving. The path ahead seemed clearer now, though the trees still loomed high above them, their twisted branches blocking out the light. But now Amara felt a new sense of hope. The heart of the earth was within reach, and they would find it. As they continued through the forbidden forest, Amara couldn't help but think about the creature's words. Love. The true source of power. Was it really that simple? He thought about his family, his village, his friends, and Nia, who had stood by him through everything. It made sense. Love was what had driven him to protect his home, to fight the darkness. It was the bond that connected everything, and without it, the world would fall into chaos. The deeper they walked into the forest, the more they felt the change in the air. It was as if they were approaching something powerful, something ancient. The trees grew taller and darker, their trunks wider and more twisted. The ground beneath their feet felt spongy, like the very earth was alive, shifting with every step. Suddenly, they arrived at a clearing. In the center of the clearing stood a massive stone altar, covered in moss and vines. Atop the altar was a glowing blue crystal, the heart of the earth. It radiated a soft pulsing light, as if it were alive. Amara and Nia approached cautiously, their steps slow as they took in the sight before them. The heart of the earth was just as the Baobab tree had described. Glowing, powerful and beautiful. But something else lingered in the air, an unsettling presence, like they were being watched. Do you feel that? Nia whispered, her voice trembling. Amara nodded. We are not alone. As if on cue, a dark figure emerged from the shadows of the trees. It was tall and shadowy, its face hidden beneath a cloak of darkness. The figure moved with an unnatural grace, as though it were part of the forest itself. You shouldn't have come here, the figure said in a low, menacing voice. The heart of the earth belongs to the darkness now. Amara's heart skipped a beat. He had been prepared for danger, but he hadn't expected this. The darkness wasn't just a force in the forest. It had a presence, a will of its own. The figure stepped forward, its cloak swirling like smoke around its feet. You cannot take the heart. It will bring ruin to your world. We have to, Amara replied, his voice steady. The baobab tree told us that we need it to restore balance, to stop the darkness. The baobab tree? The figure hissed. You trust that old tree? It is just another pawn in the game of power. The heart will destroy you, just as it destroyed so many before you. Amara felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The figure's words were filled with malice, and its presence was suffocating. But Amara couldn't back down, not after everything they had been through. We are not afraid of you, Amara said, his voice stronger than ever. The figure laughed, the sound echoing like thunder through the forest. You should be. Before Amara or Nia could react, the figure raised its hands, and the forest around them seemed to come alive with darkness. Shadows swelled, forming shapes that reached for them like twisted arms. But Amara knew what he had to do. With the glowing stone in his hand, he stepped forward, holding it high above his head. The light from the stone pierced the darkness, pushing the shadows back. The figure recoiled, its forms flickering. No, this cannot be. Amara held the stone with all his might, his heart filled with determination. We will protect the heart. We will restore the balance. The stone's light grew brighter, filling the clearing with a blinding radiance. The shadows shrieked, retreating into the depths of the forest. The figure's form collapsed into itself, vanishing with a final, tortured cry. For a moment, there was silence. Then the forest seemed to breathe again, the oppressive darkness lifting. The heart of the earth remained on the altar, glowing brightly. Amara and Nia stood still, their hearts racing as they realized what they had just done. The darkness had been driven back, but only for now. The battle was far from over, but they had the heart, and with it, the power to fight for the land they loved. As they reached for the heart of the earth, a voice echoed in their minds once again, the voice of the baobab tree. You have done well, Amara. You have proven yourself worthy. But remember, the darkness will return. You must be ready. Amara nodded, his grip firm on the glowing heart. We will be ready together. And with that, they turned back towards the village, knowing that the true battle for the future had only just begun. As Amara and Nia made their way back through the forbidden forest, the heart of the earth glowing softly in Amara's hands, they both felt a mixture of relief and dread. The darkness had been repelled, for now, but something deep inside them told them that the true challenge was still ahead. The journey they had embarked on was not yet over. The forest, which had once felt alive with shadows and malice, now seemed strangely calm. The twisted branches of the trees no longer seemed to reach for them, and the air, once thick and suffocating, now felt fresh and clear. Even the ground beneath their feet seemed firmer, more solid. We've done it, Nia whispered, a hint of disbelief in her voice. But why do I still feel like something's watching us? Amara paused, the glow from the heart of the earth casting eerie shadows across his face. He understood exactly what she meant. The air still felt charged, as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting for something. We need to hurry, he said quietly, his gaze scanning the path ahead. It's not over. The darkness is still out there. We've only bought some time. They walked in silence for a while, their footsteps echoing in the stillness of the forest. Every now and then, Amara would glance at the heart in his hands, the blue glow casting light on the path ahead. It felt warm in his grip, pulsing with energy, as if it knew how important it was. As they reached the edge of the forest, they saw the village in the distance, nestled beneath the towering baobab tree. The sky was beginning to darken, the sun setting low behind the hills. But there was no peace in Amara's heart. He could feel the presence of the darkness still lingering, like a shadow just out of sight. When they finally stepped into the village, the people greeted them with cheers and praise. They had returned victorious. At least, that's what it seemed like. But Amara couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The air around him felt different, colder, as though the very earth was shifting beneath their feet. The baobab tree stood tall, its branches swaying gently in the evening breeze. It was peaceful, but Amara could sense the tree's ancient wisdom, as if it was waiting for him to approach. "I have the heart of the earth," Amara said, holding the glowing crystal aloft. The baobab tree's branches creaked, and the leaves rustled as if it was responding to his words. Then, a deep familiar voice filled his mind. "You have done well, Amara," the baobab tree said. "The heart of the earth will help you protect the land. But the darkness has not been vanquished. It is only waiting, gathering its strength. The stone you carry and the heart must be united to unlock their true power." Amara's brow furrowed in confusion. "What do you mean, we've come so far? I thought we had won." "There is more to this than you know," the baobab tree continued. "The stone and the heart must be placed at the center of the world, at the place where the sun and moon meet. Only there can the darkness be truly sealed." Nia gasped. "But where is that place?" The baobab tree paused for a long moment, as if considering whether to reveal the truth. "It is hidden from all but those who are destined to find it. The path is not an easy one. You will face trials unlike anything you have encountered before." Amara's heart sank. He had hoped that their journey was nearing its end, but it seemed they were being called to another, even more dangerous task. "We are ready," Amara said firmly, though doubt knocked at him. "Where do we go?" "You must travel beyond the lands you know, to the place where the earth meets the sky. The mountains of Obasi hold the answer, but be warned, the path is treacherous. There are many who seek the heart and the stone for their own purposes, and they will stop at nothing to take them from you." Amara felt a cold shiver run down his spine. He had known the darkness was powerful, but he hadn't realized just how many enemies they would face. "Who else seeks the heart and the stone?" Nia asked, her voice barely a whisper. "The darkness itself," the baobab tree replied. "But there are also others, humans who have given themselves to the darkness, blinded by their greed and thirst for power. They believe that by controlling the heart and the stone, they can rule over the earth." Amara clenched his fist, determination rising in his chest. He would not let that happen. The land, the people, and everything he loved depended on this mission. He couldn't fail. "We will go to Obasi," Amara said, his voice resolute. "We will stop them." The baobab tree's voice softened. "I will guide you as best as I can. But the rest is up to you. Trust in each other and in the power of the heart and the stone." With that, the voice of the baobab faded, leaving Amara and Nia standing in the stillness of the village. The air was heavy with anticipation, and Amara could feel the weight of the journey ahead pressing down on him. But he knew what had to be done. They had to travel to Obasi, find the place where the sun and moon met, and unite the heart and the stone to seal away the darkness forever. As they prepared to leave, a strange feeling crept over Amara. A sense that the village was not as safe as it seemed. The villagers were celebrating their return, but something in their eyes, in the way they looked at Amara and Nia, made his skin crawl. Nia noticed it too. "Amara," she whispered, do you think someone here might be working with the darkness?" Amara's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Had they truly escaped the grasp of the darkness, or was he hiding somewhere in plain sight? He glanced around at the villagers, watching them carefully, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Still, the feeling remained, like an itch he couldn't scratch. There was something off about the celebration, something wrong. As the night wore on, the suspicion gnawed at him, but there was no time to waste. They had to move quickly before the darkness closed in on them again. "We need to leave tonight," Amara said firmly, turning to Nia. "Before it's too late." She nodded without hesitation. "Let's go. We can't afford to wait." And so, under the cover of night, with the heart of the earth and the glowing stone in hand, Amara and Nia set off once more, determined to reach Obasi and stop the darkness once and for all. But as they left the village behind, a shadowy figure watched them from the distance, a cold smile playing on its lips. The darkness, it seemed it was closer than they had thought. As Amara and Nia journeyed deeper into the night, the shadows of the trees seemed to grow longer, and the silence of the village they had left behind now felt eerie. The path ahead was dark, but their hearts were filled with a quiet resolve. They had made their decision, and there was no turning back. They had to reach Obasi and place the heart and the stone together before the darkness could spread any further. Their journey took them through dense forests, across wide rivers, and over mountains that stretched into the sky. Each step was more difficult than the last, but Amara and Nia never wavered. They had seen the power of the darkness firsthand, and they were determined to protect the world from it. One evening, as they camped under the stars, Nia spoke up, breaking the silence that had fallen over them. "Amara," she said, her voice soft, "do you ever wonder if we are doing the right thing? What if we are just one small piece in a much bigger puzzle? And no matter how hard we try, we can't change anything." Amara looked at her, his face illuminated by the soft glow of the heart in his hands. He understood her fear. They had been through so much, and the journey ahead was filled with unknowns. "I used to wonder the same thing," Amara admitted. "But then I realized something. We may not know all the answers, and we may not see the full picture, but we have the power to do what's right. We have the choice to act, and that's what makes all the difference. We don't have to understand everything to make a difference." Nia smiled at him, the weight of the journey lifting just a little in that moment. "You're right. As long as we keep moving forward, we are doing what we can." The next day, they reached the foot of the Obasi Mountains. The towering peaks loomed above them, their jagged edges cutting into the sky like dark teeth. They could feel the power of the land beneath their feet, a force both ancient and fierce. The path ahead was treacherous, but there was no choice but to press on. As they climbed higher, the air grew colder and thinner. The journey was becoming more difficult with each step, and Amara's legs began to ache, but they didn't stop. They couldn't afford to. After days of exhausting travel, they finally reached the summit of the highest mountain. In the distance, they saw it, a circle of stones, where the sun and the moon seemed to meet, the place where the heart of the earth and the stone could be united. But standing in front of them, blocking their path, was a figure cloaked in shadow. The figure was tall and imposing, its face hidden beneath a dark hood. The darkness that radiated from it was palpable, and Amara's heart sank. "Did you really think you could stop me?" the figure asked, its voice deep and cold. Amara stepped forward, holding the heart of the earth and the glowing stone tightly in his hands. "We won't let you control the power of the heart," he said, his voice unwavering. "We are here to end this." The figure laughed, the sound chilling and mocking. "You are too late. The darkness has already taken root. You cannot defeat it." Amara felt a surge of anger and fear, but he held his ground. He knew that this was the final battle, the moment of truth. "Love is the true power," he said, his voice strong, "and we will protect it." With those words, he placed the heart of the earth and the stone on the ground at the center of the circle of stones. The light from the two objects began to grow brighter and brighter, their energy fusing together in a brilliant explosion of light. The darkness that had consumed the figure recoiled, unable to withstand the power of love and unity. The ground beneath them shook, and the air crackled with energy. Amara and Nia held on tight as the force of the light blasted outwards, pushing the darkness back all the way to the edge of the world. Finally, there was silence. The figure, once cloaked in shadow, crumbled into dust, its darkness vanquished for good. The heart of the earth and the stone, now united, glowed brightly, their power restored to the land. The mountains and forests, the rivers, all felt the shift as the balance between light and dark was restored. Amara and Nia stood together, their hands still gripping the heart and the stone. They had done it. The world was safe. As the sun began to rise, casting golden light over the land, Amara turned to Nia, his heart swelling with pride and relief. "We did it," he whispered. Nia nodded, her face filled with joy and exhaustion. "We did." They stood there for a long time, watching the world around them awaken, knowing that they had done what needed to be done. The land was safe, the darkness was gone, and love had triumphed. Moral lessons. 1. The power of love. True strength does not come from force or power alone. It comes from love, the love we have for each other, for our world, and for what is right. Love can overcome darkness and bring about true change. 2. Perseverance. No matter how difficult the journey may seem, it is important to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear or filled with obstacles. Staying true to your purpose and persevering will lead you to success. 3. The importance of choice. We all have the power to choose our actions. Even when the odds are against us, it is our decisions that define who we are. Choosing to do what is right, even when it's hard, is what makes a difference in the world. 4. Unity is strength. Amara and Nia were able to succeed because they worked together, supporting each other through every trial. When we come together with others, we can achieve more than we could ever alone. Trust in yourself. Even when faced with uncertainty, having faith in yourself and your abilities is crucial. You don't need to have all the answers, but you must trust that your actions matter. And so, Amara and Nia's story became a legend, a tale of courage, love, and the belief that even the darkest forces can be defeated when we stand together with love in our heart. We have come to the end of the story. If you love this video, please kindly share with your loved ones. Leave us a comment on your opinion and subscribe for another interesting video like this. Until I see you all on the next one. Bye for now.